get excited about crypto because it is definitely the future. And it isn't just the future of our finances. It is the future of so many things.
What's up, and welcome back to another episode of Crypto Convos. I'm your host, Lionel. I'm here with Brian, and today we have a very special guest. I'm really excited to introduce you guys to my man, Danny. He's a filmmaker, musician, and crypto enthusiast, and this is a very special episode because he's actually the one who got me and Brian into crypto. So please give a warm welcome to Danny Rogers.
Hey. What's up, guys?
Yep.
Thank you, man. Thank you for being alive.
Thank you for being enthused.
Yep. So can you please tell the people, how were you one of the first, ones to really support crypto, to run around telling your friends about this technology and introducing them to things like Steemit?
Yeah, cool. So I got into crypto right around the time when Bitcoin was $8. It was just kind of like one of those. It was actually like kind of a symbiotic event where I was already kind of like studying the U.S. financial system and just sort of uncovering like how messed up it is and how it just doesn't make any sense. It is not good for the people. And then, I kept hearing this stuff about Bitcoin and Litecoin and some things like that. And at that time, there was really only like a handful of cryptos. I mean, literally like maybe 5.
Wow.
So I kept looking into it. And mind you, at this time, I was really trying to figure out how could I fund films, you know what I mean? Coming from like a person who doesn't really have a lot of financial background in his, family. I was just kind of like, how can I do this? There's got to be some other solution. So I discovered Bitcoin and started mining pretty much immediately. And this was when you could still mine Bitcoin with like a graphics card. So I started mining a little bit, discovered Litecoin, tried mining that for a little bit. And then it was almost one of those overnight things when Bitcoin went from like $8 to like $1,200.
What year was that?
Oh my gosh, 2000.
Was it like 9?
Maybe I can't remember. I honestly don't remember.
Yeah, it was a while.
It was so long ago, right?
Yeah,
definitely over 10 years ago.
Wow.
And I kind of saw this as like, wow, this is a great solution here. This is going to give people like myself access to funds to do the projects that they hope to do in the future. So like, to me, it was all about how could I gather enough crypto to fund my own film. And then, so at that point, of course, I was like running around telling a lot of people, of course, falling on deaf ears. When I first started talking about crypto, the natural thing, especially back then, was just like, that's a joke. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Like internet money, what do you even mean? What is this mining? I mean, people are still asking that question to this day, which is good because mining is no good. But like so it was just kind of like, to me, I saw it as a solution for me to sort of connect the dots when it came to my artistic projects. And then along came the advance of cryptocurrencies. Ethereum came along, started making some really interesting things with the multi-tiered crypto verses. And then ultimately Steemit came around, which really sort of like set me into a whole new path. Now Steemit still exists, but it's very fledgling. The entire Steemit community went on to create Hive. That's something we can get into a little bit more in a bit here. But so what that was is social media. Essentially, you got paid per like you got, sort of. Mm-hmm. That's the reason that Steemit is really around so much, is because it didn't actually do that, but that was essentially the goal. And to me, I was like, this makes sense. There should be some sort of, when you get on Facebook, what are you paying to be on Facebook? You're paying your identity.
Right.
Your currency is you, and they're selling you to other people. If anything, like, we should be getting some money in return for that, right? And I feel like crypto does really sort of bridge that gap. Now we haven't really seen crypto social medias take off the way we expected them to, but I don't think that isn't going to happen soon. I think that we're going to see more of what that model created come into fruition. And if any of these big tech companies kind of like latch onto this kind of concept, we might really see some crazy stuff happen. So
yeah. I agree. I think that the problem with that is that the companies with the current model, it's really the people are getting the most value of the platform versus the company. So I think that, well, I guess there would be a way for the companies, I'm sure, to capitalize off of that structure as well, but
yeah.
I don't think they figured it out yet. You know,
Right. That's the only reason why they haven't introduced it. I mean, on paper, it shouldn't even be that hard. We sell you our identity. We should get something in return, more than just playing on your app. But hey, Zuck's going to Zuck it up. So he's got to make his money.
Yep.
So Danny, as an artist, and I know that decentralized platforms are very, very useful for artists. Can you kind of dive into, how it's beneficial and how that can help, the starving artist today?
Right now, I think it couldn't be a better time for that. Now, if you're an artist, say you make video or you're an illustrator or something, obviously you know about NFTs. I'm hoping you know about NFTs at this point. That's such a great way for people to make money. I'm still myself, even being somebody who's been in crypto for so long, still trying to wrap my head around the overall use cases of NFTs. But I think that they do a lot more than people are giving them credit for, especially with the advent of the metaverse and how that's growing. And I think those are going to play a much bigger role here in the future. But all that really matters is that if you're an artist, you can just go onto an NFT site and drop your art on there and most likely make more money than you've ever made in your life doing art. Right. And I think that alone is really powerful. And then you have sort of the offshoots. So, we mentioned Steemit, which is now Hive, and they're not the only social media attached to a crypto out there. There are some under the Ethereum network. I don't even really know all the names anymore because a lot of them keep popping up. But those are great places for you to also just make money off your art and find new people who are enthusiastic about cryptocurrency and will more than likely get involved with whatever it is you need to get involved. I'm a filmmaker at heart. I'm also a musician. Music is a little bit easier to sort of find revenue streams, but with filmmaking, you really only have a few ways to make money off of films. And that's, first of all, you have to get your film funded. And for you to even make money in filmmaking. And for that, for cryptocurrency, it opens up a lot more. First of all, you just already have people who are investing and they are getting these huge returns on these investments. And a lot of times they want to find something to do with that money. In the past, we've raised entire short film projects just with cryptocurrency, just by posting about it and people sending us cryptocurrency, because there's a lot more of it to go around. On top of that, posting about our projects on Steam, it made quite a bit of money. As a starving artist, you're gonna have to figure out your own path in crypto to sort of make it work for you. But you will find it if you do the research to any capacity. Like I said, I mean, its surface level is from NFTs, and you can keep going deeper. Obviously, there are Kickstarter type cryptos out there, and just there's so many new avenues for you to raise money to do your projects, if that is what you need. And for a lot of artists, you can just make your art and go and sell it and get some cryptocurrency. And if you want, turn that into some US dollars or just hold on to it and watch it grow. I mean, really the possibilities are endless, and it's only going to grow from here.
So as an artist, what do you look for in a crypto platform? Mm-hmm. When you're sharing your art, what do you look for?
So first of all, is the usage of it, right? So when Steemit was at its most popular, which, like I said, is now Hive, when Hive is doing quite well now, but when Steemit was at its most popular, there were so many users. That's going to be very important for you. You know, if you go to say, if you want to sell an NFT and you go to an NFT website that doesn't really have a lot of traffic on it, I think we all know what the result's going to be. You may or may not really make that money you're hoping to make. Whereas if you go to OpenSea or somebody who's, you know, Rarible or something like that, you just have a lot more traffic. So traffic is going to be a big part of whatever it is you're getting involved in. The second thing is like, what is your goal overall? For a lot of people, you know, like I said, you can put your art right on an NFT and make your money. But for someone like myself who has to already raise money, I'm looking more at what's a successful crypto, because what I like my main approach has always been sort of like, let me invest now and see where it goes in the future. I got into Cardano before it was even a penny. So obviously we're using that, like what we made off of that to fund our next film. So, you know, it's really about your own path, what it is you want to do. But whatever you do get involved in, make sure that it is worthy of that sort of attention you're giving it. You know, for me, Cardano is great. I think it's a great platform. I think the people behind it are fantastic. It's highly affordable, and the whole goal of it is to remain affordable, which is something you don't really see a lot. You know, we saw Ethereum back when it was Mastercoin. You know, that was like, I was buying up Mastercoin like crazy, and then they changed to Ethereum, so I was buying that up like crazy, and I'm glad I did. But right now, if you try to get an Ethereum, it's not really that great of an investment unless you already have a ton of money to put into it.
Right.
Because it's so high in its value right now, whereas Cardano is intentionally designed to kind of remain lower. So that, you know, if you're a business and say you want to start your own art website and you want to start a currency that is attached to it or something, we're just talking hypothetically here. You go on Ethereum, it's going to cost you as much as an entire Ethereum costs, plus whatever other fees are going to be coming along with setting up your business. Whereas with Cardano right now, it doesn't even cost a whole $1 to get all that stuff started. And at some point it may be $25, but it's never going to be like $3,000. So you kind of want to look at what it is you're getting involved in, what they're doing, and how does it apply to you in the way that you want to operate within crypto. Everybody has their own goals. So yeah. Those are the things that I'm looking for. I know a lot of people are looking at different things. But it always is going to come down to traffic.
Getting back on the social media that merges with crypto, what is Hive doing that's different from what Steemit was doing?
Pretty much the same thing. Okay. they actually, so what they're doing different though, I think it's what's going on in the background. Hive is a DPoS, so a decentralized, I think that's what it's called, DPoS. So it's kind of like a proof of stake, but instead of like with Cardano, right? So you have Cardano, you let it sit in your wallet, you get proof of stake, which is you earn 5% back. Now you have to delegate it to mining. Cardano is a little different, but stuff like Tezos, you know, you can just keep that right inside your wallet and you just make that money back. Mm-hmm. Whereas with a delegated proof of stake, it's more about like how many likes you would get on a post. So people are delegating where they're putting their proof of stake, because everybody kind of like plays a role in sort of the authorizations, much like the mining with like Hive. So really they're not doing a whole lot of things different. They're just running it better. Okay. The problem with Steemit was it was kind of being run by somebody who had some pretty scammy goals in mind. Okay. And so essentially it was just people took the same platform and made something a little more sound and a lot better for the people using it.
So it was like a reset.
Yeah, totally. And I still think they have a long way to go. I don't think DPoS is to me a great solution in crypto, much like I don't think mining is a great solution. Mm-hmm. But I do think I think that they're on to something. And I think that like if they continue building what they're building, I think eventually we're going to stumble across the right solution for the emergence of cryptocurrency and social media.
Right. I agree, and I would also say that about most of the aspects of crypto. I mean, it's all of these great ideas that have a lot of flaws in them right now, But
Right,
you know,
right.
with the way technology evolves, we trust that through trial and error, you know, 2.0 will come out, then 3.0 and 4.0, and
Absolutely.
eventually we will have the solar powered, you know, perfect mining setup. It will have
Right, right.
every, you know, that's what I tell people who try and throw out that, you know, Bitcoin is bad for the environment and,
Well,
you
I
know,
agree with them, but you know, in that sense, though, Bitcoin itself, the mining process, is very bad. I've actually been sort of on that sort of that championing that idea for a long time,
mm-hmm.
but the like you said, the 2.0 is already out.
Yeah.
It's called proof of stake. Ethereum is ultimately moving to it, or they did move to it. I don't think they have yet. But proof of stake, for those who don't know, is essentially instead of mining the however much currency you have in your wallet, each one of those, say you have 100 Cardano, you have 100 little miners. And what they will do is ultimately the fact that you are holding, you've invested in into the protocol. You are also verifying transactions just by letting currency sit inside your wallet. So your wallet is essentially doing the same thing that mining was doing, and there's no use of electricity for this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, you can have your wallet turned off and your computer turned off, and it's still going to be verifying transactions on the network.
Can you help
Um,
me understand something? I'm gonna
yeah.
show how much I don't know real quick, but why why does Bitcoin using so much power, why does that affect the environment in a negative way?
So okay, so first of all, when we say that Bitcoin is using a lot of power, it's using a ton of power.
Like as much
Um,
as
I,
some countries, third world.
there are mining operations that are using enough power to power entire states, and that's like one warehouse mining bitcoins. Now, so I'll kind of like try to break it down as easy as I can. So like first of all, a good example is when I started mining, I was mining with two separate computers with four different GPUs. My electricity bill went from like tripled within the first month of doing it. So what are we using to make electricity? Coal, oil,
Oh, true.
natural gases,
Right.
right? So now my one house at that time was using 3 times more power than I've ever used. So
Okay.
that's that much more coal or whatever other energy.
Just for your
Now,
computer solving math problems.
right, and a map for literally no reason. Now that's essentially the next part. Now, like kind of to peg off what I was just saying is that when you have an entire warehouse that's taking up terawatts of power, that's a lot of gas and a lot of fossil fuels going to, like you said, all that mining does is essentially verify transactions by way of trying to solve an algorithm. In the case of Bitcoin, it's the SHA-256 algorithm,
Mm-hmm.
which is a very difficult key to unlock. So, you can't really mine Bitcoin with GPUs. There are currencies out there or cryptos out there that you can mine with GPUs, and people are still doing it. But yeah, ultimately what they're doing is they're trying different hash codes,
Mm-hmm.
thousands per second or however many, and that depends on what kind of mining system you have. So it's checking all those until it finally gets the right one, and whatever one in the world gets the right hash code, they get that block, and then the block gets distributed
And it
throughout the
gets more
network.
difficult each
It gets
time.
more difficult,
Right.
right? So right now with Bitcoin, the difficulty level is just insane because it's been around for so long. Now the alter and so it's ultimately it's using fossil fuel to do that, and we're talking a lot of fossil
Okay.
fuel.
So
Proof of stake doesn't use any fossil fuel at all. So ultimately, that's why ever since I think Mintcoin might have been the first one to do this. I might be wrong in that. I guess you could say NEX or NXT
mm-hmm.
might have been really the first proof of stake, but then there was like Mintcoin and there was a few others. But ultimately, when proof of stake came out, I was hooked. I was like, this is it, because I'm already a big, I really hate the way we waste like fossil fuels and stuff like that. I think right now we're really starting to see the consequences of that as these gas prices go up during this, with everything that's going on. So ultimately, like I said, that 2.0 is out there. Mining is totally obsolete. However, it's still being done. But if you really want to really think about it, it is just terrible for the environment.
Right.
It's one of the worst things that we could be doing with our fossil fuels.
But we can also combat that with different, methods, wind
sure.
energy, things like that. Yeah.
Now, I do have a few friends who have sort of gone around this, and they have solar powered mining setups. Now, their miners do not mine nearly the amount of power that somebody who's just hooked up to their outlet's going to get.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a physics thing. Ultimately, though, I know he's been building on that, and he mines with green energy. It was more of an experiment for them. It works out for him. I know his mining profits are, right now everything he's making is pretty much all profit outside of the money he spent to build the solar panels and so on. But yeah, that's pretty much the only way around this thing. Now, when we're talking about some of these warehouses, though, their solar power setup, if they wanted to run that, I don't even know if physics can really do it at this point. The amount of money it would cost to put up a solar panel to run an entire warehouse of miners. I just think, though, and to kind of like peg off what you're saying, Brian, I think ultimately we have to ask ourselves, is it really worth it? Like, we not only are you taking up all this fossil fuel, but you're taking up an entire warehouse that could either be used for something else, or we just cleared a whole bunch of trees and forests to put up a warehouse. So somebody could essentially put up a device that does something that doesn't need a device does.
Yeah, it's like
there's give and take. Oh, well, I was going to say there's give and take. We're combating a financial system that has just had perpetual destruction, and this is not just something new. This happens every time when someone says like a world order. I was just listening to Ray Dalio break it down. This has been going on for 1,000 years. The currency changes, whoever has power, and when that happens, the printing machine happens, money gets devalued, people go, they buy stocks, commodities, they buy real estate, they buy Bitcoin now. But we're really in this fight, and there is going to be some, even though I know that there's going to be better methods, in the future that we can mine Bitcoin, but the upside for what it does for the people, giving people control of their financial future and being decentralized, the good outweighs the bad.
Yeah, I would definitely say is like, don't misconstrue what I'm saying as saying like Bitcoin bad. All I'm saying is mining is bad.
Yeah.
And there already is a solution. There's not only one solution, there's several. I'm talking about proof of stake. There's many different types of fossil fuel using ways of getting crypto.
Yeah. It's just like the greed always slides in and messes everything up. And that's what they're doing.
Great example
with Bitcoin.
Right. Before, when Bitcoin first came out, you could mine Bitcoin with a GPU, with not your GPU, but your CPU, with your actual processor. And that was like mind-blowing and revolutionary then. And once rich people did discover, though, that they could create, moved into GPUs, and now you actually have to buy a mining device. Once that stuff started coming out, the greed stuff started coming in.
Yeah.
And no matter what financial system we as humanity decide we're going to use, somebody's going to use it for greed.
Greed, yeah.
And
then
that's
it just snowballs and breaks everything.
What we can do is sort of combat that. In my mind, to me, I feel like Bitcoin has been sort of hijacked by the rich, which was probably, we all knew was eventually going to happen. But what I will say is that as soon as that started showing its ugly head, people immediately started creating new solutions. DPoS, POS, other ways of making crypto, getting crypto distributed, because that's what mining ultimately the goal is. It's just so we can distribute it, and it's a lot fairer, right? Even mining right now with Bitcoin, like let's say you go out and you buy a Bitcoin miner and you mine yourself some Bitcoin, whether you're using a pool or whether you're solo mining. eventually when you do get some out of that, it's yours. And you got it by means of playing like with the system. It wasn't because somebody rich said, oh, here you go, here's access to this funds that I now say you have it. It's distributed, and it is distributed fairly. And by which means you get that distribution to happen, I think doesn't necessarily matter to me, because the ultimate solution is much better than where we are with our current fiat system.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah.
one of my favorite things about this industry that I learned from Steemit. You know, it really blew my mind when I saw that there really are a lot of smart, brilliant geniuses out there that also have morals and that are also
Right.
building structures to fix some of the world's problems with the technology that we have now. So that was great
Right.
to see, you know, and then also seeing that they're also getting rich. So it's like, okay,
Right.
these people with morals are also going to have enough money to be able to
To
solve
make
some of the
better.
world's problems.
Exactly. Now, if you really think about it too, the way that Bitcoin was released by whomever made it and put it out there, I mean, they really did selflessly try to solve a major problem. They just sort of put it out there and they were like, here, do with it what you want. Whether or not that was one person or a group of people,
An
whatever
alien.
Satoshi, right? An alien, whoever
Conspiracy theorist.
Satoshi really was. Um, they really did like try to solve a great problem. And I think they're doing a great job, even though I don't think Bitcoin is necessarily the right answer right now. Bitcoin spawned Ethereum. Ethereum is a great answer. I mean, right now that is one great protocol doing amazing things. And then it spawned off all its other predecessors. And then a bunch of other things kind of came out of it. Steemit is a great use case example of a cryptocurrency that does its distribution very differently. You don't need a miner. You don't need you don't even need to go, like, say if I want to mine, like I want to make a good profit on Cardano, you got to go spend like at least $5,000 to make a good profit back on your proof of stake. You don't need anything with Steemit or Hive. We keep bringing up Steemit. I'm not telling people to go there, and in fact, I say stay away from Steemit right now.
Hive.
But Hive is a good example. You don't even need anything. You need $0. All you need is to be creative and make some good posts.
Right. Good idea.
Right, exactly. That's amazing. That's a great way to distribute currency, or to people who otherwise wouldn't have access to money. So
yeah, whenever something that I have gets a lot of likes on Facebook, I'm like, man, if only this was Hive or Steemit.
Right. Every week I'm like, I should really get back to posting on these things, but I never do. I don't, as much as I preach these things are great, I don't really use like Hive or any of these social media so much anymore.
Sidebar, let's get this show on Hive. What are we doing?
I know.
What in the world?
Well, go ahead and break it down for our listeners, because I don't think that they necessarily caught it. When you post on these platforms, you're getting paid to post.
Pretty much.
So you get likes on Facebook, you get cash on these crypto platforms.
Correct. So it's like we were saying, it is a social media that is much like a Facebook, more like a Reddit. I would say Hive is a lot more like Reddit. Reddit is a much more text-based social media, whereas like Instagram is all pictures, Facebook is whatever amorphous blob it is now. But so on Hive, let's say blockchain basics, you guys want to post your video here, you post the video with like a YouTube link, you definitely you write a little bit about your episode and your show, people go and like it or upvote it. As they upvote it, you're going to get little bits of currency as that happens. The more upvotes you get, the more you're gonna make. That's essentially the long and short of it. Now I could get into more detail, whereas I don't know if Hive is doing what Steemit did, which is essentially the reason why Steemit was a problem. What they did was they made it so, let's say I have a wallet that has $10,000 worth of Steemit in it. And Brian has a wallet that only has like $5. And Lionel made a really good post. So Brian goes over and likes it. He may only contribute like a 0.00 of a cent to his post. Whereas if I liked it because I have like $10,000 worth, he would get like $30. And that was not very good. That created a vacuum of elitism. Whereas whales, like essentially you're just spending all your time begging whales to come along and like your post, which is ridiculous. That's even worse than mining for Bitcoin to me in terms of like use of time.
Yeah.
That's why Hive was ultimately invented. And I don't know if they're doing the same thing or what they're doing differently from Steemit right now, because I don't really spend as much time as I should on there.
So let's backtrack just a second, because I think that you covered something that was really, really important in the beginning, and that was your journey and how you used Cardano to fund your projects. So it's not like, you're an artist, but you came with a plan, and then you looked at the market and you said, this is the coin right now. And at that time, that was the coin that presented the opportunity. So it's not, you don't have to invest in Cardano, but looking at the market,
Now that's what, So for that journey to really take hold, right? So when you get into crypto, you're going to hear about the blue chip coins pretty much immediately. Bitcoin, what is it right now? What are like some of the blue chips? Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano,
XRP,
I think is
Stellar.
Is our XRP still like blue chip?
Yeah,
there's sort of
any
top
10.
Any of the top 10s, right? So you're going to hear about these big ones. I don't know if Solana would be considered a blue chip right now, but it's pretty close. Solana's great, by the way. So what you want to do is you want to first, you're going to make your first purchases into what you hear, what you know, what you can do quick research on. As you keep getting into it, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to see, okay, who's out there making the next cool thing, right? Now, if somebody's out there sort of repeating what Ethereum did, you're going to kind of probably want to question whether or not you want to get into them, because right now you have Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, Polkadot, Avalanche. There are so many multi-tier protocols out there that you can get involved in. And going back to what we talked about before, traffic is very important, right? Ethereum's doing great because it has a ton of traffic. Solana's doing great because it has a lot of traffic. Cardano's doing pretty good because its traffic is growing as they grow their protocol. So what you want to do is you want to look at who's doing something new and unique and something that will solve problems. Not only your problem, right? So when I got into this, of course, I'm thinking, I want to use this stuff to make art. I want to make my movies. I want to fund all the things that I'm doing with this. So I could have easily fallen into who's out there doing the art stuff in crypto and only focus on that. And that's not really the way you want to go. You want to look at it much like the stock market and say who's doing something cool. So then once you do find a protocol that you really like, you want to try to get involved as often as you can. Go to their Reddit, go to their website, see if they have their own message board. Find them on other message, like Bitcoin Talk. Bitcoin Talk always puts up, that's the place where you're going to say, hey, I have a new crypto. Here it is. Here's the white page. Here it is. And then people can actually talk to you, or you can talk to the developers. So ultimately, you just kind of want to try your best to get as involved as you can, but you want to find stuff that's new, different, and also getting a lot of attention. Cardano was getting crazy attention before it even came out because of the person who made it and the way that they were approaching it was so unique. Their white page was not at all similar to the Ethereum white page, even though they sort of do similar things. You want to look at what's new, different, going to solve some really great problems. For a good example would be like AMP, right? AMP on Ethereum it's essentially going to be a payment processing system that says if I have Bitcoin and I want to go to the store and I want to buy something, I can use this card and as soon as I swipe that card, it'll make the transaction from Bitcoin to US dollars or whatever that person wants to get paid in the end. That's a great use case. That's something that can solve problems. That might be a good investment. Next, ask yourself, is there anybody else who's doing the same thing? Well, let me look at them now, and then start kind of making the decisions you think would work, that do work. But yeah, ultimately, you just want to look for something new, something that's affordable too, right? That's something that we've talked about a lot in our personal conversations. Mm-hmm. Just jumping headfirst into crypto and buying Bitcoin, you're going to kind of be growing upstream on that one, or Ethereum. But if you come in and get some Solana, that's only about $100 each right now. Algorand. They're going to get, or Algorand, right? Or Cardano, which is $1 right now. And, so, it's like you kind of want to look at who's new, who's doing things, who can I afford to get into, something that I really always tell people when they're getting into crypto is think about how many units of something you can get, right? So if I have $3,000, I could get one Ethereum. So when Ethereum goes to $3,300, well, now I have an extra $300. Cool. Well, what if I took that $3,000 and put it into Cardano? Now I have 3,000 units. And when that goes from $1 to $3, well, now I have $9,000.
Right.
So it's like, you kind of want to think about how many units, because you will grow exponentially if you have more units of something.
Yeah. I think that's too, understanding the 4-year cycle, understanding the halving, understanding where we are in the market at the moment that you decide to get in, because not every moment is the right time.
Oh yeah, if it's a big like if Bitcoin is booming, right? It shoots up $10,000. Cardano went up $1,000. That's not a great time to be buying.
When the news is talking about Elon Musk.
Yeah, all you hear is about what Elon Musk is talking about. Right, that's the time you want to sell. If you already are holding well. But now if you're holding well, or if you're not holding well, let's say you've only spent out $500, you just got into crypto, all of a sudden the news is popping, you made yourself another $1,000. Now you have $1,500. Well, I could cash out now. I just made $1,000. Cool. You might want to hodl then. Hold on, don't let go. So like, you just kind of want to, like Brian said, kind of paying attention to it, thinking about it like a finance person. So not everybody has to do that too, by the way.
Are you buying right now with the
this is the buyer's market,
right?
At least in my opinion.
I figured.
It's definitely a time that, I mean, for me, anytime Cardano goes under $1, I'm pretty excited.
Especially because people aren't talking about it. You're not hearing, everybody mention crypto and meme coins or anything like that right now.
Right. Yeah, meme coins seem to play a pretty big role in motivating the market, doesn't it seem, right?
Yeah, it's changed. So I think it's definitely changed. I think we saw Shiba Inu and Dogecoin do something that we never really saw it do before. And they kind of took center stage at a time in the market and took a lot of the retail from the fundamental projects.
So that was, and to me, now just to be very clear, I was one of the very first miners to point a miner towards Dogecoin. I remember within 3 minutes of the devs posting about it, I was pointing it at it because I thought it was hilarious. I'm a big troll. I love laughing at ridiculous stuff. So I thought Dogecoin was fantastic, especially at a time when I was mining Litecoin and I went to go mining 1 per day down to 1 per 2 weeks. So I was like, okay, I need to try something else. Put in my miner, within my first block, I got 5,000 Dogecoin. I ultimately wound up, using Dogecoin. I mined it for a little bit and then sold everything I had because obviously it wasn't really, there's no investment. Now, going back to what you're saying though, Brian, is that those sort of protocols sort of take up retail space for other things. And that much is true. And that is essentially, to me, kind of a big problem.
I hate to cut you short there, but we've got about a minute left, less than a minute actually. Yeah, man, this went by really quick.
Well, let's do a part 2 here soon.
Yes, definitely. We have to get you in here again. But okay, so yeah, man, this was an awesome episode. Thanks for coming in. Thank you for sharing all your knowledge, all your advice and everything. We definitely have to do this again soon. Sure. I wish we could just keep it going here for another hour or so.
But we could definitely talk about this forever.
Yeah, but is there anything you want to say before we head out?
Yeah, ultimately, I love, my biggest thing is I'm like a crypto evangelist. So, without, anything myself to plug, but mostly I'll say that, get excited about crypto because it is definitely the future. And it isn't just the future of our finances. It is the future of so many things. Bureaucratic problems are going to get solved. Regulation problems are going to get solved. So many different things are going to change with crypto. So, hold on, hodl, or hold on, don't let go. And, think about what excites you in crypto and just follow that path. Follow whatever excites you, because whatever works for the 3 of us or us individually may not work for you, and don't be intimidated by that.
Man, that's bars. Well, you heard it here first, guys. You're a part of something that's going to change the world. So Pay attention, like, share, subscribe. Stay tuned for more. And that's about it. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
See ya.
Peace. Thank you.